This is episode 28 of That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, where we talk about anime and manga because we love it. I'm your host, Isekai Sensei Sama, aka Brad. I'm joined in this Weeb Kabal by Bento Baggins, aka Ben.
Hisashibori
And Kermit D. Grog.
Ahoy hoy!
If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and don't miss the other series on our feed. We've got Heron Addiction, where Ben and I read romance and drama manhwa and then rate it on totally objective scale.
Sure.
And Shonen Jumping the
You guys keep telling yourself that.
and Shonen Jumping the Gun, where Kermit makes me read the first chapter of a manga to try and figure out if it's any good with the minimal amount of information. And we want to hear from you. You can talk to us on many different social media platforms, which you can find links for in the description and on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. Come hang out with us on Discord, listen to our Spotify playlist, and get episodes early as well as other perks by supporting us on Patreon. And don't forget to rate the podcast, tell your friends. As always, before we jump into our discussion, we've got some news items here.
Okay. Hit me with the news.
Except we don't, actually.
What? Have we covered? We covered all the news?
There's no
news left.
There's no new series to talk about. So I wanted to take this moment to shout out our Patreon, because I wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of all the different perks that we've got going on right now, as well as to say, let us know what you'd like out of it. So as I mentioned, we get you get the episodes early. So as soon as I'm done editing those, Merchant Tier and Up gets the early episodes. We have special rooms in the Discord. You get a special little supporter name and
tag,
and you get a special
role
channel that you can post in that the others aren't allowed to be in.
Can't see that secret level.
We also have all of the podcast music, so all the intros and segment transitions and all that kind of fun stuff we've got up on Patreon under a collection, so you can listen to those. And the big one that I wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of, because I don't generally post about this in the normal channels, I post about it in the special Discord channels for the patrons. We have bonus episodes that go up.
We do, in fact, have bonus episodes.
A lot of those, most of the time, it's just extra stuff that doesn't really fit into the episode, so we just put it over there. Sometimes we get, really long discussions that happen outside of the main topic.
Sometimes we just keep rolling and we can't stop, and it makes no sense, but it's like we get to the end, we're like, were you recording? That was good, but that needs to live somewhere.
And a big one, as I hope everybody's aware, we had a very special guest recently, Maxie B.
Yes, Maxie B. My manga senpai.
There was actually quite a bit of extra industry knowledge that Maxie downloaded to us, and that went up in a bonus episode. So I hope people get up there and check that out. The bonus episodes are currently open for everybody who supports us. So all the tiers.
Are you saying as low as $1 or?
Yes, I am.
As low as $1. That's all it takes, people. Come on. It's free real estate.
And
$1 real estate.
And last but not least, we also want to say all our patrons get a shout out at the end of the episodes. I don't know how many of our regular listeners actually listen to the very end, but we do Patreon shout outs at the very end. And also, there's a lot of times there's some extra bits after the beeps at the end. I don't know how many people.
The Easter eggs, the funny stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the podcast.
It's the bag fries of podcasting.
Yes. Yes, it is. So not exactly news here, but there was one thing that I wanted to call out, because when I was looking for if there was any news, I saw this and I went, I should bring that up, because there's this new series that's running right now that Kerm and I watched a little bit of, and we were a bit baffled by Snack Basu.
There's news about this?
Well, no, it's just it started.
Oh, well, yeah, we saw it. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast.
No, we didn't.
It boggled my brain because it didn't look bad, but it looked like not anime, but also it looked like anime, and it was just the most, as somebody who's watched a lot of animation, but can't draw for anything, but just sort of osmosis and kind of has an instinct about things, I just could not put my finger on it. Like, there was just something about it that made my brain tingle with confusion.
The animation style reminded me of, and Kermit, you called this out, Super Jail.
You said Super Jail.
Wow.
I said Kappa Mikey.
I was trying to remember what it was. You remembered that it was called Super Jail.
Yes.
And it's not as like... It's not as
different shows.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It wasn't like crazy and off the wall like Super Jail, but just kind of the squiggly art style. That's what it reminded me of.
My understanding was that it's, after talking to people as well, it's flash animation, but it's anime. So there's like sometimes it's rigs, but sometimes they frame by frame. So it's like I could never get a firm feeling of it. But that's why I think like Kappa Mikey, because Kappa Mikey was probably in that heyday of digital stuff of the US or Canada or whatever, but they were trying to ape an anime style, and that together made that like, oh, that's why it's similar, because it's that art style, but it's straight up an anime style.
Yeah.
But every so often you're just like, why does this look
I don't know that I can, comment on whether it's good or bad. We really didn't watch enough of it.
The content, the actual content of it was not why we were there.
Yeah.
It was just because it looked so peculiar in a way that was, if you hadn't really watched a lot of cartoons, you wouldn't get hit by.
It was sort of unsettling. It gave me an unsettling feeling.
Which I don't think was intentional, because it's about a snack bar.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. What is the premise of the show?
It's like a little Japanese bar. I'd say pub, but that's not what
Are
they're
you
called
familiar
there.
with the concept of these tiny little Japanese snack bars where like
You just hang out with the host and
there's like 4 tables and a bar.
Sometimes they do karaoke.
A lot of times
it's
snacks. Only the bartender, and like you get beer or a mixed drink and some snacks, and there's a TV, maybe karaoke. Like it's an interesting concept. I would liken it to oh crap, I'm forgetting the name. The bars, a dive bar, except they're like nice,
cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, it's literally the series is just, hey, here's the kooky characters at this bar.
It's The Office, but the bar. Which I guess is Cheers.
Yeah, that would be Cheers. Is it like a full episode, or is it one of those shorts?
Yeah.
It's a full episode, but it is. I don't think we even made it through, but I'm assuming it's a series of shorts.
We started. We were looking for something to fill our missing slot of Roboco because we finished it.
We finished our bumps of Roboco.
And we saw this one. I was like, oh, this is probably one of those shorts as well. And then it's like, no, it's 23 minutes long.
I don't think so.
So yeah, I just wanted to, bring that up because
something there.
It reminded me, and I was like, we're probably not ever going to talk about this.
Nowhere else to go, but it was interesting enough to warrant talking about. So I guess this is where it goes.
Yeah,
it's the first I've heard of it. So,
and now the last, probably.
So happy Valentine's Day, or slightly past it. But this is still the Valentine's Day episode.
Did you send out all your obligation chocolate?
We'll get to that.
That's
That's later. Right now.
I don't have to. I'm a man.
Yeah, it's not White Day yet. Something that came up that we were discussing, but we sort of wanted to hold on to till an appropriate day, which is now, is the sort of the concept of romance, but within the specific genre of shonen, manga, and anime.
The shonen action-y stuff we read and cover a lot of, though. I know we cover heroin addiction, but that's kind of like, why is romance... I guess the mission statement is why is the romance in all of these boys' mangas so dog shit? And then the follow-up to that is, but why do I want them to kiss their rivals? Or vice versa.
Yeah. So, I mean, the classic example, and the one that we bring up every time this comes up, is Naruto and Sasuke. Which...
And also Sakura's... Well, I guess Hinata is the romance. I want to start there.
But that's the thing.
The Ron Weasley of anime. Like... like... Hinata is the female equivalent of like Harry getting with Ginny.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just that, he's the main character. He's a boy. That means he gets a girl.
He's got to have the not gaze.
To be fair to the series,
you
as
just listen to the
whole,
author. He just wants to kiss his brother. It's normal. He just wants to kiss his brother.
They did.
His brother Sasuke.
They did show very early on that Hinata liked Naruto.
Yes, because he's the shonen protagonist. He's the little boy insert.
Now.
Don't say it like that, me.
Let's be fair, because at the point where she was watching him, he was still an outcast. So he wasn't full of protagonist energy.
He
at
was
that
easy
point.
pickings.
Well, maybe. But
there's nobody else hunting for this guy. It's open season for Hinata.
That
the
said,
low woman on the totem pole.
the whole thing sort of did feel forced at the end, because Naruto never really showed any interest in Hinata.
At most, I guess some of it, Sakura, maybe early on, maybe kinda. No?
What do you mean?
Was there ever any like romantic stuff between those two?
Oh, Naruto was wanted to get with Sakura.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And even up until sort of pretty close to the end of Shippuden, like, Naruto understood that Sakura wasn't gonna go with him, but he still didn't really have anybody else and was still sort of looking at her in that way. They did have a movie that came out that's set as they're older teenagers after the end of Shippuden.
Was it canon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where Naruto and Hinata get together. And it's a good movie. And that movie has good romance in it. But it also felt like the kind of thing where they had to do that because the series itself didn't bring it up at all.
They had to get to Boruto.
Yeah.
Even like it was like the gears were turning, but they had no reason to turn. But they had to, because that's what the thing was. That's what the author had written.
And it almost strikes me that like a lot of the series do this thing, and this happens in isekai all the time, where the protagonist has to act as if no one would like them.
Yeah, or that girls are icky,
And
but
then,
like also clearly wants a girlfriend.
Yeah. And it's like they put on this facade of like almost asexuality to an extent.
Yeah.
Goku barely understands what a woman is.
Right.
Yeah. Goku, we'll get to Goku. Goku's such an easy thing. I want to reach into some other series before we go back to the old faithful.
It's interesting to me because, you know, Japan has this thing where they don't have enough babies, right? And they're
okay.
And they're pushing for people to get together and have babies, and yet there's so much of this media that sort of gives these young boys a role model that says you're not supposed to act as if you like girls.
Don't act romantically to people, and at some point they will come to you for whatever reason.
So is Spy Family like reproduction propaganda?
Probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fine by me if it makes it better. It makes the romance better. I like the romance in Spy Family.
There's a couple.
A lot. I'll get to that. I've got another one that admittedly I have not finished, but so far I like the romance in that is currently running in Shonen Jump right now.
There are a lot of series that I read that I just go, this is literally just here to try and make people make babies.
I thought you were going to say to tick a box, because it feels like My Hero Academia with Deku and Ochako, the Gravity Girl, Gravity.
Ochako.
The most just like, don't bother. What are you doing? Nobody wants this.
Yeah, and I think it's strange because like I said, I read so many of these series that are like, hey, you need to get a girlfriend and have babies and everything. But none of those are the mainstream ones. Those are all just like weird isekai and crap that I read that's like not in big magazines. The major players in Shonen Jump and these major shonen battlers and all this stuff, like the love interest is always so far in the periphery.
So far down on the totem pole as to not even be. It's like, you
Right.
can only mess this up. Don't bother.
Right.
Which I guess props to Jujutsu Kaisen for not messing with it at all. They know it's a waste of time unless you're going to cultivate this flower. Don't bother.
Yeah.
And you know what? Jujutsu Kaisen is better for not trying to pretend there is any romantic tension between any of the characters besides us viewers and Gojo's dreamy, dreamy eyes.
There was that one episode where that girl from
The other school.
yeah, Itadori's middle school or whatever,
I
shows up and she's like, I used to be fat and he was the only one that was nice to me. And I really like him.
I forgot about that.
And
yeah.
he's just like, hey,
It's
I
like
remember
that.
you. You're cool. Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's like
They literally like waved it in your
they
face.
specifically went, no.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I get it, but no. I feel like where it plays out, I guess this is the secret, the alternate theme of this entire thing is, especially at the time, I mean, Naruto is such the poster child for this. And growing up with it when I was a teenager, it's the waifu wars. It's the things that go on in the fandom.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it happened in Japan because it definitely happened here. And I'm assuming that played out within like the ranking, the popularity role stuff. So, Ben, did you take in Naruto as a young person? Did you take part in these wars? Are you a veteran of the waifu wars of old?
I never.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever cared about a romance in a shonen at all.
No. Not a romance. Not a romance in it. You go, this one. This is the best girl.
Yeah.
I'm not usually one for waifus, but like this is a historical.
Like who would
accounting?
you personally want to?
Yeah, who was the best? Who was top tier? And let me tell you, it was never Hinata. And if anybody ever said that, you shouldn't talk to them.
It's 10-10.
What? That's the That's the funny one. That's the good one. I did like 10-10 a lot, but I had a big soft spot for the one that nobody else is talking about when I was younger. But it's Tamari. It's Tamari. It's 100% it's Tamari. It's the fangirl from the land of sand. Sand fan girl.
She's all right.
She's cool.
I
Shikamaru,
like
he's best. He's best boy.
the
Best girl, best
Shikamaru
boy.
and Tamari getting together makes sense to me. They did. I can't remember. This might have been filler episodes.
They fought in the tuning exams, I thought.
Yeah, but and that's why she likes him because he beat her, even
Yeah.
though she's so strong.
Yeah.
But they did actually, because when it sort of like just came about, like, oh, they're dating, it was like sort of out of the blue. But then they had some like flashback episodes of like, oh, they actually like, here's how they actually got
Are any
together.
of the great ninja married besides the fourth Hokage to have Naruto?
Oh, that's a good question.
Jiraiya don't have a wife.
I should.
Hi, I'm going to gender a lot of these groupings because, come on, guys, it's manga. Like,
I mean,
and we're talking about
Hashirama.
shonen stuff.
Hashirama definitely had a wife because Tsunade is his granddaughter.
but does Tsunade have a husband and or partner?
No,
Orochimaru
because
doesn't. He's got-
she was in love with that one guy who died, and she never.
Yeah.
But she might have been in love with Jiraiya, but then he died.
Kakashi.
Nope.
Kakashi don't got a wife. Like nobody is in relationships. All Might don't got a wife.
Well, there was
He had Night Eye, or
was
whatever his
the-
name was.
the skinny guy with the.
Yeah. That's who.
But, like,
Everybody dies.
Shonen, they're not because it's because then you have to have another character you have to pay attention to.
Who's the one ninja girl with the red eyes, and like she would do genjutsu stuff?
Oh, Ino?
No.
I was going to say that doesn't narrow it down in Naruto.
The older one, and then she got together with Shikamaru's
Oh,
Yeah.
Shoot. I know who you're talking about.
Oh, and okay.
I'll take it.
No.
That's a romance. You know what? It was a romance of adults, and it was barely there, probably. But
And he got her pregnant, and then he died.
Oh, I didn't know he got her pregnant.
But
parents can't live in this. Parents are not allowed. You're not allowed to have.
Right.
Maybe that's why Japan's really bad at having babies, because anytime anybody has attempts to have a baby in a boys manga, they fucking die.
The third Hokage, Sarutobi.
Yeah.
He did have a wife, and he had kid. That guy who died was his son.
Okay,
Oh,
but
yeah,
the
'cause
wife
he had that
died before he
annoying
did.
grandkid.
Yeah, well, but that's from a different kid.
Oh.
And
Konohamaru?
Konohamaru.
Yeah.
And his parents, they both died.
So I'm going to be real with you guys. I think I stopped reading Naruto around the Chunin exam.
Oof, you were even earlier than I did.
I've been following about 50% of what's been
That's
said.
fine. We can shift to something else. We can shift back to My Hero.
Yeah, none of what we're talking about right now is really all that relevant.
But it's
being,
it's the fact that it's just like there are like, even with like the quote unquote teen cast, like, thinking about it, it doesn't extend to most everybody else. There's no couples. Are there any heroes in My Hero Academia who have a partner that matter?
No, but I don't know.
Midnight dating.
I don't think she was.
And then she... Oh, wait, that's a spoiler.
Then she lived forever. No, well, I think like the thing is...
Call her dating and
How many people who have like the plot of a shonen manga is not often conducive to a stable marriage? Like,
That's true.
No, but you can just like, hi, this is me wielding the thing I usually, a concept I usually use to call out bullshit, to do the opposite now. You're the author. You can make everything fit as much as you want. You could just make a quote unquote good couple. And you can just make it work. You can, like, you don't have to, like, as long as everybody, like, I don't know, I'm a firm believer in as long as everybody's on board, which I know there's some gray area there, but, like, you could make these happen. And the fact that they just don't is interesting, isn't it?
how into romance and like long-term relationships were you at age 14?
I was really into girls at age 14.
But not like,
But
not
like
long, but like
romance.
I'm not writing the manga.
There's
Adult
plenty of-
men who are sometimes married are writing it. But I guess it's the idea, Ben, I think you brought this up in Summer Prep. They don't really understand it either, which I think is why it spreads into their work, because they're these socialist little boys drawing their artwork in their rooms or offices.
No, I think we had to have talked about it before, but I brought it up with you guys. The famous story of the guy who wrote Hunter x Hunter and the girl who wrote Sailor Moon. They are married, but they almost weren't married because he kept trying to call off the wedding because of like his anxiety. And then he proposed like, okay, but what if we get married but live in different houses? And eventually he finally just caved in after she gilded him, basically. And she calls him my prince. So,
And
She also loves his penis, I want to say. I saw that webcomic. Well, not webcomic. It was an actual comic they drew about their married life, that he was like, it's weird. Like, she wants to see my penis a lot for some reason, which is the most, like, little boy talking. It's like, this man is drawing and writing Hunter x Hunter, one of the most highly celebrated manga of all time, and this is how he's interacting with women.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. She's got to get something out of the relationship.
well,
I know, clearly. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you here? You wrote
that's-
Sailor Moon. You're not hurting for money or notoriety.
that's my question: is what's her deal?
What is-
Because
that's
she was so
the
about
weirdo.
it. Like
She must be.
she all but forced him into marriage. Like, what's she doing?
Yeah.
I don't get
It's
it.
not just a random woman. It's
Right.
It's the fucking creator of Sailor Moon. Like,
that is Naoko Takeuchi.
yeah, thank you.
Did she just go? I have to marry
this
another
weird little gremlin,
mangaka.
this weird little gremlin man is just my style. Like, I don't know. Some people are weird. People are weird.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. If I were like,
Y'all are married.
I've thought about this more than I care to, and it's not like I have a crush on Takeuchi or anything. It's like I don't like. You could do better. I don't get what you get.
I have to find that manga they wrote, or one of them wrote about it, because I know I've seen some of those panels floating around the internet, and I will just read it and report back.
You know who's happily married and surprisingly not weird? Junji Ito.
Having a good time.
Yeah. He's got a surprisingly tame personal life.
I feel like you have to get out to experience the world to write horror more than you have to about fighting dudes, but not always. You never know.
Miyazaki is famously not a happy person.
He's a miserable word I'm not going to say.
And Junji Ito
Starts with the letter C.
famously very well adjusted and happy.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
Toriyama got married.
I don't know what Toriyama's marriage deal is.
He got married, and his Toriyama's early manga has some stuff that would get you canceled these days.
Oh, 100%. The early Dragon, literally we covered the first chapter
Even
of Dragon
worse.
Ball, but Dr. Slump's got some. It's been a long time. I read that when I was a teenager, and I probably didn't know better, but I'm sure there's some.
He has a one shot where the joke is somebody getting, essayed. And
yeah,
it's supposed to be funny, and it's
there's a lot of that in early Dragon Ball. That's the joke.
He got married and he chilled out a little bit.
I don't know what his married life is like. That his is one that I didn't hear the stories about too much. I know I've heard
she's an artist as well, but I forget what she drew.
I know Oda's wife either is or was a Nami cosplayer. I don't know if she became one just because she looked like it, and he just married that. And you know what? Man's writing literally one of the most important manga on the face of the planet. I'll just say comics. I'm just going to say pieces of art in general. I can say that. I'm obsessed. Fine by him.
As long as she's age appropriate.
Yes, correct. Important factoids. Spitting. But yeah, I guess the thing, I already knew a lot of these weren't good, but I guess I never thought about there's relationships aren't really present even in side characters.
But you know what? There is always a relationship in these shonen battle manga that is very, very intense. And you have the protagonist and this other person, they pay such close attention to each other. They obsess over each other. They
lament when the other is not around.
Yeah. Their entire lives revolve around each other.
They're keenly aware of when the other's body has changed or grown in some way.
Correct!
Oh my God. It's the rival.
Homosexual, gay. What if the rival was a girl? Then we would combine both things together and you'd have reason to spend time.
Yeah. Very early on in Naruto kissed Sasuke.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Brother. He kissed his brother. It's normal to kiss his brother. I still love that. I can't get over that, learning that he wrote Sasuke to be, because it's this is what my brother was. And I'm like, okay, sir. Don't know how to feel about that. Besides, I guess, making fun of you all the time.
Bleach is another one. So, in Bleach, the romantic couple is set up as Ichigo and Orihime. Even though Rukia is there.
Rukia's there. Is it not Rukia? What little I remember from Bleach, she seems like, duh.
That's what you think initially, and then they have just a brother-sister relationship. And they're very close, but that's it. They set up Orihime as the love interest, and there are a couple places where it's much more overt than you get in Naruto. But for the most part, it does the same thing. Ichigo will protect Orihime. Sometimes he's maybe thinking about her as a girl, but most of the time he's just I'm going to beat Renji and I'm going to beat Genpachi.
There's no time for romance.
Well,
but they need to be around. That seems important to these storytelling. I think Hajime Ippo comes to mind. It's there's a girl that he likes that he's duh, he's so embarrassed to talk to, but she's so cute. But that's not who we're spending time with.
Yeah.
Though actually sometimes Hajime Ippo get a little bit of time with her, but not as much.
I feel like the 14-year-old male fantasy that they're going for with a lot of shonen stuff is you want to be cool. You want to be a badass. You want to be a good fighty man. you want girls to want you. And oftentimes that's just enough for a 14-year-old boy. Like the most attractive quality in a girl is she likes me.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to argue with that.
I don't think they have a lot more than that. It's just like, it's just checking boxes. Like, okay, he's got a cool outfit. Okay, he's beating up people. And girls like him.
Demon Slayer does sort of have that now that I'm saying
Zenitsu is the only one there that's like really doing anything. Of course, then you have the Love Hashira, whose whole goal is to find a boyfriend.
Thing, yeah.
But that's never going to happen because no one's stronger than her.
I'm going to try, honey. I'm going to try for you.
And that one's a little overt. But other than that...
a bit... I feel like you get the vibe of that. It's... Sorry for saying this. It's kind of her sister. In the vein of the watcher or the viewer, it feels like.
Well, yeah.
But I've spoken my thoughts on that a little bit already.
The thing is besides the short bit of time we get to spend with the Love Hashira...
isn't the butterfly one have eyeballs for him? I don't remember.
Not really.
It doesn't matter.
And there's the only actual love interest for Tanjiro that they set up is the younger, like the apprentice of the butterfly Hashira.
That's what it was.
Kano or something.
There's no time. Demon Slayer
she's
could make the time for it, but yeah, I don't even remember who you're talking about.
She's the one who like doesn't have any emotions.
Oh, wonderful.
Like,
what a great romantic partner. Somebody who has no feeling. That's perfect for these situations.
But there's
no chemistry ever.
They did do a nice thing where Tanjiro sort of like gets her to open up and like stop thinking of herself as a machine, so to speak. But then that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
Time.
And we're like, and then he leaves, and it's like, no, wait, we go back there.
Literally, just have them send letters between chapters. I know that's more writing, but like, I don't know. Like, I think I want to see this. I'm not against the concept. I know I read all these shonen action-y things, and I don't read the stuff that you read on heroin addiction. But like, I like that stuff, but I want your peanut butter in my chocolate, but I also want this peanut butter to actually be good peanut butter.
And that's
the chocolate is also good. And I don't think that's asking for too much.
No, but I think that's what it comes down to is that they've sort of separated all these things. A lot of what we read, well, to be fair, most of the manhwa that we've covered so far is drama, more so than romance. But like, if you want romance, you go over here and you read those.
Yeah.
And if you want action, you go over here and you read those. And there's not really very many good, well-rounded series that give you all of the different things that you want.
Correct. But I guess it's like, I appreciate the ones that at least don't vestigially have it just to have it. Like, My Hero feels like, especially with the crop of newer stuff that's blowing up more, it feels like not the last, but it feels like one of the last big ones that's going to just have it because that's what you do in these types of scenarios. I feel like Demon Slayer blowing up, and especially Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, I mean, what we said, Spy Family literally has it.
Well, the thing is,
Chainsaw Man gets into it, but not really. But also, Chainsaw Man's Chainsaw Man.
Spy Family is doing this thing where it's like they're skirting the line of it, but it makes sense based on what the story is doing. And I have seen some people be like, I need more to happen between Yor and Lloyd. And it's like,
it's a slow burn.
Yeah, we're riding the line here because we know it's going to happen. When it does, it's going to be that much more powerful.
Yeah.
Could I offer a weird, like, social thing? Like, I know we joked a little bit about Japan having a declining birth rate, but like,
we did.
One of the real things with that is Japan has a declining birth rate, and boy, they'll do anything in the world to convince people to have kids except help with childcare expenses, education, time off. And
they really like to pull from the U.S.
Men will do anything to not go to therapy.
Yeah.
It's got big bad energy.
It is changing. Like, it's the same like it is here. I mean, I think probably in America it happened a little faster, but the generation of like the artists who did Naruto, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, like that was a lot of their dads were probably still in the salaryman era of you work one job, you might see your family 2 days a week.
Well, I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen is in that. I think that's why one of the reasons it's different, admittedly.
Right.
But
like that generation of people, like you got married and then you had a family, and
because that's what you had to do.
That's it until you retire.
You didn't do
like,
it necessarily for love.
You might not see. They might not have seen their parents together all that often.
Yeah.
Until their parents got older. And so I wonder, maybe that's why they take that tone of like, okay, you get to a certain age, you find a match, you have kids, and then you go back to work.
Yeah. I can see it.
And now I think you have started to see even different stuff. Like, this is getting a little away from Valentine's Day, but like with My Hero, even though the romance is weak, you still have like the father-son thing with All Might and Deku. And I know All Might's not his father, but they have that kind of...
It's a familial bond that's being formed between them.
Yeah, I think we're kind of at the dawn of a new age of emotionally intelligent shonen with regards to like familial relationships. But for a lot of shonen, I think it's been that rogue 14-year-old against the world who you don't see the parents, you don't have a huge relationship. You might have a sister or a brother in there, but...
I'm trying to think what's running in the actual magazine right now. This is why I should have brought my tablet with me so I can look through it. Because what? One Piece is running. One Piece, oddly bereft of romance. There's little bits and pieces, but like, I genuinely believe Luffy has claim to the ace throne. Like, I know that a lot of the times it's like you could do that kind of with Goku or something. Goku being a fight sexual, as we all know. But like, and there's little bits of romance in it, but it's never like anything more like lady or, but like, I don't know, people form bonds in that. And also, as a side note, at some point, I don't know if it's with you guys or somebody else, I want to make the chart of One Piece, specifically the Straw Hats, and who knows what sex is and who has had sex, because that is
I've seen that.
a wide, I think I've heard it discussed, but that is a wide array of results when it comes to charting the Straw Hats.
Yeah.
Because Sanji is the ultimate. He has never had sex, but he doesn't know what it is either. Okay, what else is running? Demon Slayer's done. We talked about My Hero.
I was just thinking, and this is like a bit ironic given the subject that we're talking about right now, and talking about how we want more romance in things. Given my stance on Frieren, and apologies to Last of the Red Rose, this has been a thing going on. Like, that's one where I liked that it wasn't focusing on the romance in the manga, at least from my perspective. And then
it was.
When the anime comes out and it looks like they're focusing on it more, I was a bit, taken aback by that.
Well, but even the manga had Fern and Stark. I mean, I don't think anybody could.
Yeah, but Fern and Stark, Fern and Stark was obvious, but also subtle.
Because sometimes they in a non-weird way, they would shift between awkward teens dating and brother and sister can't get along.
Yeah.
As someone who had an older sister, like, some of those vibes are there where I go, oh, I remember when I was the dumb boy. I remember those times.
I'll admit their romance is a little weak because they're the only two people around their age that they know.
Yeah, but that feels like kind of that with that one, it feels like that's part of the journey and not like it just feels like it flowers out of it, not like it's
for now.
For now.
For now, they're the only ones of their age that they know.
Sakamoto days, he's got a wife. He doesn't show up a lot, but he was a guy, he got married.
He quit being an assassin to get married.
For his wife.
That's the best romance.
Yeah, that one's not
Sakamoto
quite there,
days is post-romance.
That is post-romance.
I think they might. I don't know that they would actually do anything with it in the series, but there's oh god, I forget their names. The psychic and then the Chinese girl.
Oh, she hasn't been around in ages.
No, but
that'll be a big Dragon Ball energy of Krillin getting together with Android.
Oh, what about Mob Psycho with Tsubomi?
That was actually that's probably the best.
That was good, but also like trying to compare Mob Psycho to anything else and like emotional intelligence levels is just like don't bother. What are you doing? It's not worth it. The one I wanted to talk about, but neither of you have read, so that doesn't make it a very good conversation, is the one romance that is in Jump right now that I genuinely enjoy and am excited to see when I keep reading it, is Undead Unluck. It starts a little gropey. I may have seen myself as the female character. It was kind of nice at the time, but it gets better, and it's genuinely relationships I've seen make sense to me and blossom across it. I don't know how much of that is the fact that like I want it to happen, but like it's a series that also like the female character is the main character, or like genuinely the co-main character. We usually follow her for the most part, and her journey seeing Andy, the undead guy. And like in the beginning it's like, oh, we gotta the whole bit, small spoilers for Undead Unluck, is that undead Andy can't die. He gets he just regenerates. And the girl Fukuo? I don't remember.
The main character.
I haven't said. It's one of those ones I haven't read in a couple weeks, and B, I've never said it out loud, so I don't know how it's spoken. But she is Unluck. So anytime somebody makes physical contact with her, actual bad things happen. Like her parents died because like they hugged her once when she was older. And now she goes around, like, it starts with her going to kill herself because she's just like, this is not living. But she wants romance because, like, who doesn't, you know? And he's just like, oh, if we get close enough in a meaningful way, they learn it's like, oh, the more meaningfulness of the touch, the more deadly and dangerous the unluck that occurs is. So it starts kind of comical, but it's like, oh man, if we're close and have sex, that'll be the thing that causes me to die. The unluck will be so big. And it's played for a joke, but he's like, hey, if you're not comfortable now, like, I'll take my time, but like, we're going to be together then. And anything else I'd say I wouldn't, like, it's like, I mean, it's played for jokes, and it is, but like, over time, like
the concept of I want to have sex with you so I can die.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's I think it's genuinely comedic. Like that's why some of the opening is kind of little like if you don't keep going and get the vibe of it, it can get iffy. But like also it just helps that Undead Unluck has like a lot of kind of cool, well written female characters, more than one in a manga. But it's like a genuine romance that I want to see happen. I don't know if that's my own personal like. Stakes in the matter, but like that's one that I like. But that's also like woven into the story. But also there's just a bunch of like crazy bug nut shonen wonderful garbage just popping off all the time. Read Undead Unluck, people. I gotta catch up and get back on it. We'll have an episode on it someday if I convince one of these two to read it. But yeah, I don't know
where you have to go to get actual shonen romance.
Shoujo,
which is not, it's not.
It's just not shonen. But I want it because you get it in my chocolate.
There's so many of these slice of life series, like A Komi Can't Communicate, where the romance aspect of it between these two teenagers who are like coming to understand their feelings for each other and like exploring what it means to be in a relationship and navigating. These social structures around them and everything. Like they're good and meaningful and deep, but like that's what the whole series is, as opposed to having a bunch of stuff going on, and that is part of it.
I want it not necessarily in the backdrop, but I feel like we already had this with what's that one where she's a boy, but what's it called? That we watched, the anime.
Oh, Toma-chan is a girl.
Toma-chan is a girl. Like, I was having
the one
a good
where she's
time
a boy.
With it. She's a boy. She's a tomboy. But, like, I'm already feeling that there's a certain point where it's just like, I can't do another season of this. You have to pull the trigger. Something needs to happen.
But again, that's more...
But when you put that in the backdrop, when that's not the point, that's not the fulcrum of the series, and that's what I like about, like, put it in a thing that I already like, where it can play out and it can be nice, but it is not the fulcrum upon which the series rests. I think this is why, but it's like, also it's like, don't put them in just to have it vestigially there. Like, I both want less of it, but I want it when it's there to like be paid attention to and have time spent on it and be like fun and not feel like homework.
There's a reason. There's a reason why when it was like, oh, Hinata is gonna be Naruto's wife, that everybody went, what? Like, you need more development in that.
Yeah, or don't bother. I'm trying to think of any other examples of long-running stuff in Jump. Black Clover, I did not get far enough to know if... I mean, I guess they're like they hint at some romance stuff, and that one doesn't seem too terrible, but I don't know enough if it was just vestigial or not.
I wonder if
they might be slow burning that.
Sort of comes down to like most series sort of just do one thing and they stay in their lane. And like, if you want multiple things, you read multiple series.
Or your Spy Family.
Because it's like, I feel like there's a lot of like American television shows and stuff that have like, they've got all this action adventure stuff that goes on, but then there's a romantic subplot that's happening, you know?
Well, and a team of writers.
Yeah.
True. I guess it's just like, it's something I'd like to see more, and I think there's a dearth of it. Because it's like, you have to go to, not necessarily just shoujo, but like, you have to go to the stuff for that. And I feel like it's a genre that can get mixed in. Because all of these series have interpersonal relationships, some of which are very fascinating. Just do that, but like, it's your partner, or like, and not just like, it's a girl I like. Like, and I guess I'm asking a lot for a magazine written for teenagers to have that. I don't know what flavor of seinen. I don't know. I exist in this weird state, in this weird world of what I want, and it not being generally the thing that the populace wants. But I want something, I guess, that fits the bill.
I think it's rare when one does it well, but I think as they move away from the pervy stuff, I think that dominated shonen.
I think that's going to help a lot, is getting rid of that, because that was always such a, like, it gives it such a sexual tone to it, which it doesn't need to have. It could. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying, like, yeah, if that's your main point of connection and or friction between the male lead and their female counterpart.
Yeah.
Give me a freaking shonen adventure where it's two people going and they're a couple and they just go around and they have battles and they go on a fantasy adventure. Give me Dragon Ball, but Chi-Chi's there from the start and they're buds and not like weird whatever the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Give me a shonen adventure where two people date and then they break up and date other people.
That's asking a lot, Ben.
Can't do that.
Can you
That's
imagine?
not allowed.
That's not allowed.
You fall in love with your childhood friend, and that is what you get.
Kiss, kiss, fall in love, then you die.
Yep.
You know what Shonen Battler series doesn't do romance at all, and I am totally down with it? Akane Banashi.
Yeah, because at one point they're just like, Akane, you can't date.
She's got, I mean, I could see something developing with her one friend, because they do go on that date at one point, and he's kinda,
but it's not.
And she's like, I am terrible at this.
he's kind of teaching her how to be a person.
He's adorable.
It's funny. It's just, if you're going to do it at all, do it. But if you're not going to do it, if it doesn't make sense, don't do it at all.
Yeah, and I feel like we are entering that phase now of stuff. I mean, again, Shonen Jump, especially because that's what I cover, and we just have sort of vestigial carry-ons from generations prior.
Yeah.
And you know what? Goku's in a throuple now with Vegeta and Broly, so good for them. Good for them.
Hey, Vegeta missed a tournament. Or he was going to miss a tournament because his wife was about to give birth. That was a major character moment.
Also that. I love that. I know we've talked about villains of especially Vegeta so much, but I love that he genuinely is like him and like kind of Krillin with Android 18.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is like, again, Bulma and Vegeta. That is a couple that I'm enjoying seeing grow in the background.
Dragon Ball Super, I think part of the reason I've stuck with it, even though I know everybody says it's the bad one, like, it's not as bad as GT. die on that hill. But I've stuck with it mainly because like it grew up with me. Like everybody's old and like their parents and they're still like trying to get together on the weekends to go have a martial arts tournament. And I get that. Like
that's big you energy, Ben.
I like what they're doing. But yeah, it was funny when Goku and Whis just did not understand why Vegeta had to stick around if he wasn't the pregnant one, and they were looking at it like, and they were. That's the thing. They were aliens looking at it.
Yes,
like they don't understand.
One of them was literally a godly being.
I was trying to think.
Maybe I just have to ask around. There's got to be like seinen, because it's like I don't want like hardcore romance. Like there has to be something more in line with what I want.
Parasite wasn't terrible. Parasite's old, but
Parasite's old.
They had a romance in that.
I want the Golden Kamuy guy to write everything, but I want him to write a romance.
Is Golden Kamuy done?
Yeah, Golden Kamuy's done. He's been working on Dog's Red, which is a manga since. Golden Kamuy has big "the boys can kiss" energy.
The final chapter translation.
I don't know if it's physically out. I don't know if it's officially out in America in English, but I know it has been done since like 2 years ago. I think it ended shortly after I recommended it again 2 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just read a whole bunch of different series, and maybe that's part of the reason why I latched on to the manhwa in the first place, is that it was like, oh, it was
different. You got to actually vary your diet as opposed to me who just keeps eating junk food.
And you want the restaurant to give you a plate of food that is balanced, and they keep giving you.
Well, no, I have to balance my plate.
But that's the thing.
I want to do what I literally did earlier with my actual diet, in which I got my greens for the day because I just make a spinach smoothie and I drink that.
Right.
That's what I want. The
Blend
spinach is the romance. I want this. I need this in my body. It's important to me.
Blend it all together until it's unrecognizable.
I need you to mix it with the banana and my protein powder. That's what's important to this. This is what makes it a part of the delivery device.
I think what made me gravitate towards certain shoujo, like right now, I think I'm religiously watching Sign of Affection with my wife. It's a good couples one. Is like people act like people in a Sign of Affection. Like, just the real quick plot is like, she's deaf and he is a guy who speaks like a dozen languages. He's fascinated with language. And like, this is the one person he can't communicate with. And they start flirting and stuff, but you do kind of wonder, like,
Ben's obsessed over somebody who's obsessed with languages.
It's weird though, because you do wonder, like, is she a novelty to him? Like, does he like her for her, or does he like her because it's like a new thing to learn?
Yeah.
And they navigate that a little bit. And so like that's like a problem a real romance might have. Like, two people started dating for a particular reason, but like, will they stay together? I like that sort of thing.
I mean, I'm just now remembering my love of Beastars and the romance of it, at least in the first season, and now getting into the reading through the manga is one of my like favorite things where I'm like, I'm in the book. I love this. This is so interesting. So like, clearly I have a taste for it. I just need to figure out where to get the stuff that's my flavor.
Yeah. And until they start writing it, we just have to go to all the different restaurants.
I guess I'll have to write it. Until they start varying my plate, I'll have to actually get off my button and vary it myself.
You have to do
tastes.
Your Naruto fan fiction where Naruto and Sasuke just throw caution to the wind.
I don't want them together, though. I want Sasuke to be dead.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you.
His brother dies.
That was like half the reason I stopped reading Naruto, because like, I did not get why everybody cared about Sasuke.
Me too, bud.
But he saved everybody after he endangered them.
Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like
in the movie where
they wrote to fill in the gap,
where Naruto and Hinata get together, Sasuke saves the village from getting hit by a giant meteor.
Yeah, and in the novelization of The Phantom Menace, it doesn't suck. But here we are.
Oh, talk about bad romance.
Da 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 da. Wow.
We don't have a moral for this
It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
because there's no moral to this. The moral is
The moral is the one that's asking about this the loudest is the odd one out of the trio who lives alone.
The moral is sometimes you got to make your own love.
I'm making faces. I can't make sounds into the microphone.
so in honor of Valentine's Day. I thought that I would take the wheel. Ben taught us about Halloween, and Kermit, you taught us about Christmas.
I did.
So
Urisumasu.
I thought I would teach everybody about Valentine's Day.
Valentine's. Tainzu. Yeah, I guess it's tines, not times.
So before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, I'd like to see if you guys can guess, given what we know about Christmas and other holidays in Japan, when do you think Valentine's really started in Japan?
Judging by the other ones, because it's a westernized holiday, I would say probably, what did I say, like the 19s? Like 1910s? Or 20s maybe?
Meiji period is what I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easy cop-out. If you know the dates for that, then those dates.
So that's not a bad guess, but it is completely wrong.
Oh.
So the first introduction of the holiday occurred in 1936.
That feels late.
So there was a confectionery company that pushed the holiday. Unfortunately for them, in 1936, no one could care. And so it didn't actually catch on until the late 1950s.
Oh, because of the war.
Well,
The
mostly.
Depression and then the war, yeah.
There was a
And
lot
then
of
the
stuff
extra
going on.
depression afterwards, and then, yeah.
So basically in the 60s was when it sort of was like, this is actually a thing now that's occurring.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, I think most people listening to this probably know this already, but just so everybody is on the same page, in Japan, Valentine's Day specifically, February 14th, is more specifically for women to give men gifts and or chocolate.
Very specifically chocolate, if memory serves.
There's actually 4 different kinds here. Ben has brought this up before. Giri Choco, which is the obligation chocolate. There's actually a next step to that called Sho Jiri Choco, or ultra obligation chocolate, which is what you give to people that you don't like.
I love Kickstopper chocolate.
There's additionally there's Tomo Choco, which is
Friend chocolate?
what you give to your friends.
Tomodachi is friendship.
A lot of that is women giving chocolate to other women as their friends, but that can also be to a man. But the last and most important one, Honmai Choco,
Honmai.
which is true feeling or serious chocolate.
Serious chocolate.
And that's what you give instead of actually saying, hey, I like you, let's go out.
So how do they distinguish? Do they have different wrappers or?
Colors, flavors. Who's getting the white chocolate?
That I'm not really clear on.
Oh.
There's not a whole lot of information on that.
What makes them different?
I think it sort of comes down to, at least what I've gathered from media, is that the obligation chocolate is generally will look all of the same. As far as I'm aware, what will happen is a woman will make or buy a whole bunch of chocolate that's the same. You know, they might be slightly different, but they're all packaged very similarly. And so as she's handing those out, it's obvious to everybody, this is the obligation chocolate because everybody's getting the same thing. And then, oh, she pulled out a box. What is that? Oh, she's going over to that guy. I've seen her staring at him before. That's serious chocolate.
So
Jeez.
it's
What a
concept
minefield.
levels.
What a minefield to navigate.
Yeah.
I choose you. They don't even have to have a written component.
There's also, I've seen where it'll be like they'll hand out all the obligation chocolate, and then the one boy is sitting there and he's like, I didn't get any. She didn't give me any. She didn't even give me obligation chocolate. And it's like, meet me behind the school.
Oh, yeah. It's the slight that is actually the super.
Right.
I thought you were going to be like I'm like, he didn't even get the super obligation chocolate? The I hate you chocolate?
From what I've read, that generally only is like unpopular coworkers. I think if that happens in school, that'd be considered bullying.
It would, yeah.
But yeah, so that's a custom that started back in the 50s and 60s, became pretty much ubiquitous, although it does seem to be dying down a bit.
Did you catch why it started up somewhat? Like why it caught on?
Just marketing campaigns.
Well, no, I'm remembering from when I covered Christmas, I took a small foray into Valentine's Day. We said Valentine's Day is specifically for women.
Yeah.
To be able to express their feelings, and that not being, at least at the time, something that was generally socially acceptable. The man had to go out and say it. This was Japanese women's Sadie Hawkins dance of holidays, that they got to express it in a quote-unquote socially acceptable way.
I didn't find any of the old ads in the research that I was doing.
I would have been able to see ads. That was just the write-up said that.
Yeah. So I don't know for certain how they pushed that. But it was specifically department store ads that they ran Valentine's Day sales.
Our Valentine's Day isn't really like gendered, is it?
No.
Just everybody's giving everybody anything.
We don't have a white day.
Yeah. For the most part, in the Western nations, Valentine's Day is the man does the stuff for the woman. And it can go the other way around.
Yeah.
But generally that's...
I mean, maybe we have that, and just because we're in it and we go, it's not that big, maybe that was just what it was in Japan, and nobody in Japan really thinks about it like that actively now. Who knows?
But that is important to bring up, that there is a follow-up holiday, March 14th, which is White Day, which we've mentioned a couple times, which is specifically for the men to give the women.
So does Japan just not
Return
care about
chocolate?
St. Patrick's Day? Are they just throwing that one out?
I don't know
much,
if
yeah.
Japan needs to care about St. Patrick's Day,
I
Ben.
was thinking of the Maya.
Sorry to the Irish. I think America's got the lockdown on drinking, racially drinking.
Racial drinking.
And an interesting note
If we had a Japanese one, people be drinking sake. I don't know what it would be, but like...
Maybe we should.
Yeah,
We should start
Let's start that. Let's start racially drinking Japanese stuff.
Yeah, so something interesting to note about White Day is that it didn't really get kicked off until the 80s.
Whoa. What kicked it off?
So they tried to get it started in the late 70s. There was a confectionery company who marketed marshmallows as the reply gift that men should give. But that didn't really work. And so it didn't actually become popular until later.
Interesting. Is it still marshmallows in the 80s and or now, or is it
No.
is it chocolate?
No, the
is
marshmallow
it specifically
stuff-
chocolate, because Valentine's Day is like, we have like flowers and stuff in Japan. I know
Yeah.
from my research was like, it's chocolate.
I have seen that it can be any kind of candy. So marshmallows is part of that.
What if
but
they have chalk hearts?
the most popular one is still chocolate.
Yeah.
So
It's so interesting. I mean, again, we've talked about it with the other holidays ones. It's like Japan got the weird capitalist version of our holidays without any of the like religious or folklore origins.
Yeah.
They're just clean. It's like you cut off a stalk of the plant where it's at now and just planted it over there and the way that it took root.
we should be fair that Western Valentine's Day doesn't really have anything to do with St. Valentine's.
No,
It
but there's
celebrates
something.
the
There is
day
a
he was torn apart.
there's a folkloric connect. Like even if we don't care, there's that folkloric or religious connection back to it. Same with Christmas to an extent. And it's not getting down on Japan because I'm sure, again, notice my reference to racial drinking with Cinco de Mayo and St. Patty's Day, where it's like Mexican people are like, why do you care about Cinco de Mayo? And it's like, sombrero margaritas, let's do this. Like,
We don't need a reason.
we don't need a reason. Well, you've given us a reason to drink. We love drinking and partying and having a reason to do it. And you know what? Sure.
I have a question for you, Isekai Sensei Sama, about, I suppose it's kind of an isekai, more of a reincarnation. Oshinoko, my one of my favorite animes.
We'll get
I've
to-
been watching a lot of these Meiji chocolate sponsored 10 to 20 minute advertisements where the Oshinoko voice actors in character guide you through how to make their signature chocolate or baked good. And I was doing it for Japanese practice because I like watching Japanese videos where they're like showing you how to do something because then the words match a visual and it's easier for me to understand.
Yeah, like a child.
But I was about like these are mind numbing, by the way. They're horrible. It's just a giant ad for Meiji chocolate, and I will never buy Meiji chocolate. About 8 minutes into one, I was like, wait a minute. The girls give the guys chocolate, right? And so presumably the person watching this video would be a young Japanese girl giving a gift to, I guess, a boyfriend or somebody they want to be a boyfriend, but they're choosing the vehicle to be the signature chocolate of an anime schoolgirl.
Capitalism.
How does that work? Like, oh, I know.
I don't know what this has to do with isekai, but
I know you're weirdly. Oshinoko is kind of an
as-
isekai. Yeah.
Reincarnated as obligation chocolate.
They're reincarnated as pop stars. But, like,
isn't that a spoiler? That's
it's not a spoiler. That's episode
when does
one.
that happen? Is that
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't
You
watch
talked
it.
about it before, and I don't remember that.
But, like, I'm trying to think, like, if I was a Japanese girl, because like I put myself in the mindset, I'm a Japanese girl, I'm making this chocolate, and then I realized, like, wait, my boyfriend, I chose his favorite character as chocolate. He really loves, Memcho from Oshinoko, and I'm like, wait, he's a fucking weirdo. Why am I going to give him like a weird like waifu
Because
chocolate?
maybe you're weird too. I don't know.
Maybe this
Have
girl.
you met Weeb Kabals in America? They're weird.
Hey, maybe this girl is making this chocolate, and the rest of the time she writes Sailor Moon. You don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, there you go.
The author of Sailor Moon to make for her weird husband who writes Hunter when he's not too busy being dead.
I do know
And by dead,
that
I mean not doing well health-wise.
the sort of the ultimate serious chocolate is you make it yourself.
Yeah,
and by
any
make
gift.
it yourself, what they mean is you melt down chocolate and put it in a mold.
Yeah. Still.
But apparently that's a big deal.
You gotta use like a double boiler. You gotta like chop up the chocolate.
Do you,
I'm
do you know what a
intimately familiar
double
with
boiler
this now.
is?
Isn't that just a bowl
They're
you
putting
put
like
over
a-
boiling water?
Dude, I would burn so much chocolate.
There's nothing complicated about
I
a
have
double
done that
boiler.
to make brownies before, my dude. It's not that bad.
the fire alarm is very sensitive. Too sensitive, in my opinion. I think it's not very forgiving. Some of that stuff wasn't burned. I think
I guess you just don't care enough about the lady that your partner in your life, Ben. I don't know what to tell you.
So you're saying in these videos, the mold that they're putting the chocolate in looks like a character from Oshinoko?
Oh man!
I thought you just meant the chocolate was like branded above.
It's brand. It's like they're teaching
chocolate.
you how to make their signature chocolate. So Memcho is like she dyes her hair blonde, and like she wears yellow. So like they put some like yellow colored nonsense in it, and then like the one girl's got purple hair, so she makes a lavender pan au chocolat, and they have to like take the white chocolate and boil it down and then layer it on and then do the cake stuff. And it's like, I would never.
So I have a hypothesis for you here. Perhaps the idea is that the girl gives this chocolate to this boy who she likes, and then he says, "Would you like to eat this with me?"
Oh, that would be that's good advice for the boy.
That's just good dating advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I will say, and I actually watched an Anne Reardon video a couple days ago. Do you know who that is?
No, who's that?
No.
She's a famous YouTuber. She basically debunks a lot of the stupid TikTok food videos.
Okay, fun.
But the one that I watched the other day, she was talking about all the different kinds of chocolate, because apparently there's like 1,900 different varieties of cocoa beans, and they actually all taste different, and it's a huge thing, and I didn't know about this, and chocolate in America is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But women far and away like chocolate more than men.
Yep.
Like to an insane degree.
I anecdotally believe this.
And so she had taste testers. Well, she always has like her son and her husband as taste testers, but she got like a lot more people for this one. And she went through like 3 or 4 guys and was like, "Hey, do you like chocolate?" And they're like, "It's fine if I'm in the mood." And then she goes to the girls and she's like, "Do you like chocolate?" And they're like, "Yes, it's my favorite."
That's always been my. I didn't know how anecdotal that was, but that's always been my experience.
And so it's like when we're talking about this Valentine's tradition of, hey, you give chocolate to the boys. It's like, why?
Let me share this thing that I love with you.
I guess, yeah.
Well, and that's another thing I always thought about, because like I've always heard, and this is obviously like emphasized to a weird degree, but like it's not masculine to like sweet things. Like as a man, you're supposed to eat meat.
I don't know
like
about
a man.
that.
That explains some things with me then.
My wife gets me gummies. That's my thing. For Christmas, she bought me a 5-pound gummy bear.
How is that? I've never had those, but I've always been curious if I could make it through before I got violently ill.
So I don't know,
or they got infected.
I don't know if they're all the same brand. The brand that she got me, the gummy itself is excellent. It's watermelon flavored.
Ooh.
It's really yummy. There's just way too much of it.
Yeah, it's 5 pounds.
I took it into the office. We still haven't finished it. It's been 2 months.
Do you keep it in like the fridge? Like I feel like it.
No, we have it wrapped in saran wrap.
Okay.
No, but it's like a dry aged steak. You cut off the outside part, and it's still good inside.
Oh God.
There's way too much sugar in it for it to like go bad.
I feel like that's the next chapter of this series is we cover it goes with our sponsor. We cover Japanese relationship with sugar and candy. Who is the Japanese Wonka?
I did want to say there was a bit of extra information here about White Day.
Yeah.
There's actually countries outside of Japan that celebrate White Day.
Well, did they get it from them, or did it spread from Japan?
It as far as I can tell, it came from Japan.
Interesting.
China,
okay.
not a huge stretch.
I mean,
South Korea.
I feel like Japan could have stolen it from China. They've taken a lot from China culturally.
Oh, that's weird. They have Taiwan here, but they already said China.
Oh, that's a Nixon deep cut.
And Vietnam. So all Asian countries, but it's interesting
That's
that
interesting. Also, that it's
spread.
called. I guess I'm assuming it was called White Day because of the marshmallows.
I was going to
Did
ask.
you find anything about that? That's my only guess.
Good question. Hold on.
Because I don't know why you would call something white. Don't we have a White Day in America? Or am I thinking of like Field Day for some reason?
I don't know.
Or maybe that was just. Maybe it was like I just like my brain has it as like a school day where it's like, oh, everybody wear white, but I don't know if there was like I don't remember the purpose because it's been a billion years.
This doesn't say specifically, but there is, we did talk about the marshmallows, how they tried to start it, and there is a note here about the companies pushing white chocolate for White Day. So
okay, that makes more sense.
It could be related to that.
I was gonna say you play Fluffy Usagi. Usagi is rabbit.
According to the jrailpass.com, the day was so named because the color white is considered a symbol of purity and is closely associated with an innocent kind of teenage love in Japanese culture.
I may or may not have been on this website for Christmas and remember them saying something possibly similar for why the cake is white with red.
This website exists to sell Japanese rail pass tickets.
Yeah, that was that you've gone on my exploration.
Yep.
Interestingly enough,
yeah.
When I was trying to look up information about Valentine's Day in Japan, that kept coming up a lot.
That website got some strong SEO, my dude.
Not that specific one, but like travel websites.
Yeah.
There were multiple that were like, hey, when you visit Japan, here's all this stuff about Valentine's Day. I'm like,
spend your money
what?
here.
Who's going to Japan for Valentine's Day? I'm so confused.
We can go next year.
We talked about this with the Christmas episode, which is sort of where this ball started rolling. The Valentine's Day is basically just about the chocolate. There's not like romantic date night kind of stuff that we do in the Western
world. There's no KFC
world.
being consumed.
Yeah. The romantic date night stuff is actually Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So White Day as well. It's literally just, hey, we're going to exchange this stuff. Maybe we're going to date now, but not today.
Valentine's Day is Girl Chocolate Day, and White Day is Boy Chocolate Day, and Christmas is Valentine's Day, and New Year's is Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much. They got it all mixed up. It's because they listen to stores about how to celebrate instead of,
old cultural norms that have been dead for hundreds of years that we nominally hold on to.
When is a love hotel going to come up with a holiday? Like, we got
Christmas
half
Eve.
off. Yeah, I want it to be some like just random lull in business that they try to pick up. It's like, guys, we're not doing great on like Tuesday afternoons. Free buffet at the Love Hotel.
Ugh. Where do you even put that? The whole point is they don't have room.
Speaking of business,
Are you going to eat in the bubble?
I did see on here the Japanese like confectionery companies and stuff make half their revenue for the year on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I could believe it. I mean, I think I said a similar figure for how much KFC Japan makes.
Yeah.
For Christmas.
Yeah.
So, big business, big business, keeps the doors open.
But also,
and
unfortunately, the practice is actually dying out. The sales have been dropping year over year
I'm fine with that.
for a few years now.
That's fine.
So this might be it.
Women, you're empowered. Japanese women living in Japan, you are empowered to tell boys or other people important to your life how you feel about them at any moment. You don't need capitalist chocolate to tell you when.
You can give a
how.
boy chocolate any day of the year.
Or a girl or somebody of non-binary gender. You're free to do it whenever. Don't feel like you've held down. You don't even got to be a girl to do it. Break down the walls. Buy yourself chocolate whenever.
I think the chocolate company supports this message.
They better. They want to keep living. In a business sense.
ご覧のスポンサーでお送りします。
Do you need to get your hands on Japanese snacks, candy, drinks, or toys and merch?
You know it.
Is it all you can think about?
Constantly.
then you'll fall in love with Sugoi Mart.
Wonderful.
They're an amazing online store where you can get all of those things shipped right to your door.
Wow.
Valentine's Day's passed, but White Day is next month, so get your orders in now to show your special lady
Or a special person
how cultured you are. All our listeners can click the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off your first purchase.
That's APR 15.
Now we got something special here.
A live eat. I don't even know what it is. I can't see from this distance.
I'm going to show this to Ben.
Oh,
It's Kit Kats. Yeah.
making you feel bad. Wait, this is Christmas. That looks like a strawberry cake.
It is it's a strawberry chocolate cake.
The box was for Valentine's Day, so...
And there are not any English words on here besides Mini 10.
Ben, if you were here, you could translate it and eat them, but alas.
Do you know what that says?
Oh God. I think it pretty much just says the strawberry chocolate cake.
That's what we needed. That's what we're working with. Yay!
So now, thank you for reading that. Now we're going to eat these in front of you.
Oh my God. You know, in America, we got birthday cake Kit Kats now. They're all right. They're not
Just
that
now,
great.
I feel like that's the flavor that we've had in a lot of other things.
I haven't been seeing them very often. I saw the birthday cake ones. I saw the churro ones.
Dark chocolate strawberry. Pretty
I was
good.
not expecting the dark chocolate.
I've actually had those. Those were in the sampler. I'll just have to go on Sugoi Mart and use code APR15 right now to get my own.
Yummy. Go to SugoiMart.com to order now so you don't miss out.
It's
Oh,
delicious.
holy shit. Sugoi Mart has a Sailor Moon Lucky Bag.
Sailor Moon, Pokemon, One Piece.
It's One Piece. Whoa.
There's a whole bunch of
I
different
chewed
ones.
some Pokemon gum before we started.
It's time for Valentine's Day Manga Book Club.
Wow! Wow!
You got a song for us?
Try to recreate. I thought you just did it. You just did the thing.
That wasn't a song.
It's Valentine's Day Manga Book Club. Yeah.
So today we're talking about the manga and the anime
Ooh,
for
You read it.
Love After World Domination.
Love After World Domination.
I was reading this series before it got an anime.
Right. Mr. Trendy over here.
This is... I've actually wanted to talk about this for a while, but it was one where there was never really a great time to do it, and we've sort of gone in and out with watching the anime. Ben hasn't seen the whole thing, I don't think.
We
I have.
finished it, right?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did we all finish it
I
together?
thought we did.
Okay. I don't remember. It was a little while ago.
So I think the last episode it ends kind of abruptly, and you're like, "Oh, hope there's a season 2."
Yeah. The the last episode of the anime does end at a part where in the manga there's still stuff going on. So it could potentially continue, but I don't think there's enough chapters at this point for it to have
Yeah.
a second season yet.
Well, what is the series about,
Yeah,
Brad?
so we
Let's
should probably tell
start
everybody.
there for people that don't know, because I know I don't hear about this outside of a lot of us reading it and watching it.
So, Love After World Domination is basically what happens if you take Super Sentai and make it a shoujo romance.
Eh?
The core of the story is that the Super Sentai aspect is the Gelato 5, right? And they have all the classic red,
Reddo.
green, yellow, pink, blue, right? It's just the 5 of them, I believe.
And the scientist.
And they have their doctor, who is the one who makes all their cool equipment and ships and all that kind of
Suits.
stuff.
Yeah.
And they are up against Gecko, the evil organization trying to take over the world by amassing negative energy or something like that.
It's got big 70s energy.
Yeah.
Bad vibes, dude.
But the core of our story is that Red Gelato, whose name is Fudo, has fallen in love and is dating one of the Gecko, I guess you could call them captains.
Yeah.
The Reaper Princess, or Shinigami. Ooh. Shinigami Hime, Desumi, who is like ridiculously strong and powerful, and for whatever
She's drawn
reason,
as a cute girl.
Yeah, they just fell in love with each other.
In a way too skimpy outfit for the kind of character she is, which is kind of funny seeing them hang out.
It's really it's funny because her actual like evil villain costume is incredibly skimpy. It's got super low cut top. It's basically a swimsuit. Very high. Thigh, hip. I don't know what that's called, but then when she's like in her normal street clothes, she's like fully covered and very
normal,
basically modest.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly wholesome. The relationship between the two, because they have to keep it hidden, so that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But like they're both so sincere about it. The whole evil organization is obviously played up for a lot of comedic effect, and she is in that organization more so because her family is in it.
Not like she has to do it, but yeah, her dad was like a major higher up, and you still got to see him.
No, he was only a foot soldier.
He was only
a grunt,
foot soldier. He was a grunt, but he was a long tenured grunt, and so
Yeah.
much that he still wears the uniform around. And I think they live in the barracks somewhere, but she has her own room.
They have their own house. She lives.
She lives in the girls' dormitory.
Yeah, I know that there's this evil organization as a girls' dormitory, but admittedly, a lot of the other captains are.
Yeah, they have
of things.
They call them the princess series. So all of the princesses are then paired up with like a monster. And so the monster was a person who got high enough up in the ranks that they got to go through monsterization.
Is it generally men?
It's not all men. No, okay. There are some women that are monstrified.
This is pretty standard Super Sentai stuff. I don't know
exactly. It's cribbing from a lot of notes.
Yeah.
There's always a witch. There's always a monster. There's always the Rangers,
and
the putties.
There's actually an episode where Desumi is getting promoted, and they're like, "Here, you're going to become a monster now," and she's like, "No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a monster." But they play it off in such a way of like everybody thinks she's like, "Oh, she's trying so hard. She doesn't think she's worthy of it," or something like that.
The general gag thing of like, "Oh, the thing that it must be this," you know.
I think it's really interesting because they do such a good job of combining the Super Sentai tropes with the shoujo slice of life romance tropes, because like they go on dates and there's funny things that happen and they have to work through some issues in their relationship and all that kind of stuff, on top of just the over the top action that is going on.
And these silly fights that are happening in all the normal Sentai locations of like warehouses, and there's one at the beach and there's one at the carnival, and these wide open spaces that are easy to film even though it's a cartoon.
And interestingly, everybody knows the identities of Gelato 5.
Do they?
They are famous people. When they go out in public, people are like, "Oh, it's Fudo. He's Gelato, Red Gelato. He's so," and they're asking for his autograph and all that kind of stuff. No one knows who the Reaper Princess is.
Even though it's super obvious.
Even though she's just wearing a hood, basically.
Yeah. It's like Clark Kent with his glasses. She wears so much more clothes and nobody can recognize her.
Right, yeah. In addition to those two characters, our main characters that we follow, having just this amazing, wholesome relationship that is just so incredibly cute. There's also like periphery relationships happening. The best one I think is the Steel Princess, whose costume is like she's in like an Iron Maiden.
She's Iron Maiden,
and
looks
she
like a bullet.
shoots out like steel tentacles and stuff and she falls in love with the bear monster captain guy.
Yeah.
He's just a giant bear. He's got
big
like cannons on his back.
Yeah.
And they have the most wholesome relationship. One of the best things in the anime, the episode after they finally like confess their feelings to each other, the OP
yes, I wanted
is
to mention
them singing the OP.
So you hear this, like go at the very least go check the OP for this because it's got big, fun, funky energy. But yeah, you hear this like deep baritone male voice and you're like, what's that? And I love that kind of a sound because that's my register. So
the OP is on our playlist. If you go on our website and check out our Spotify playlist, it's, what did I say? It was the 8th one on the list.
Really high up on the
Kowa
list.
Explosion.
Time wise,
it's such a good song just on its own.
It's a bop. If you gotta get moving in the morning, play it. You'll get your toes a tapping.
But yeah, that was so, because we're just watching this and then it's like, it's the Leo DiCaprio meme of pointing at the TV going,
it's happening.
It's the bear singing.
Because at first we were confused. It's like, what is this? Because I keyed in. I'm like, there's a voice here that's not usually here. And then we figured out it was the bear. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love intros that change like that.
The other really interesting relationship is not actually a relationship yet. So I believe it's Green Gelato is like the womanizer one, who's always like, oh, my sweet, let me take you out and all that kind of stuff. One of the other princesses, I'm forgetting her name, but she's like the wild princess. She dresses in like
the tomboy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when they see each other outside of them fighting, Green Gelato doesn't know that she's a princess. She's one of the princess series. She knows who he is.
Because everybody knows who they are.
But he starts pursuing her. And like he actually seems real about it. Like he really likes her, as opposed to more of the superficial level that he does with a lot of the other girls. And she's a tsundere about it.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to balance like, this is my mortal enemy, but also like he's being nice, and she like beats the shit out of him over and over again, and he just keeps coming back.
Is it the manga?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that.
It does have it is in the anime as well.
It was in the anime a little bit.
I just have to recommend this just overall because it's, first of all, the relationships are pretty healthy. So short of the whole thing of like, oh, we have to hide our identities sometimes, they talk to each other, they work through their problems, they each want to be good to each other and each other's families. They're all about each other in such a wholesome way.
It's a fun and cute and cozy series. Also, Red, I don't think it's been stated yet, Red is definitely, he's a himbo.
Oh, by far, yeah.
He is
Although, he has very specific areas where he is very, very intelligent.
Yes.
Most specifically, human anatomy. He's
fitness.
He's all about fitness.
That's a himbo trait.
I think it was, what was it, bugs? He was all into bugs.
Oh, I don't remember that. Maybe, yeah.
And so, it's, in addition to that very wholesome romance, it's just like, I can't say that there's a ton of action, but it's fun when it happens.
You get the fun Sentai moments in between it.
Yeah.
So it's more like the Sentai is definitely there more as a backdrop and like playing on the tropes to create the structures for them to constantly keep meeting and having to deal with this kind of Romeo and Juliet situation.
Right. And when those two sides clash, you get this amazing comedy that comes out of these moments.
Yeah.
I think maybe my favorite episode is the beach episode where Decime and the wild princess go to the beach with all of the gelato rangers as like, we're going on a date, but the wild princess thinks they're infiltrating to like take them down. But then also like the professor brings this like submarine thing that is like a new prototype or whatever. It's hilarious and fun, and I've just wanted to talk about this for so long.
We finally found a good time for it.
And as soon as I was like, oh, we should do something for Valentine's Day. Oh, of course, this is the one. This is the one to talk about.
But yeah, I found a video somebody made on YouTube called the OG Love After World Domination, which is about the romance in Gekiso Sentai Car Ranger by where the what the hell's her name? Zonette. I haven't watched Sentai in forever. This was back in the 90s.
I definitely haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I watched Power Rangers,
Yeah.
so
I watched Power Rangers, and then I've watched a lot of Super Sentai and Ultraman. I never got into Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zonette. Oh god, she was from Planet Fanbelt. The Car Ranger one was the Car Ranger.
Because they were cars.
Yeah. So she's a Zonette, but she falls in love with the Red Ranger, and but she thinks like he looks like a goon in his like out of the uniform, and so like this guy made this compilation of scenes that looks suspiciously like Love After World Domination.
yeah.
And
Wait, so she doesn't like him when he's out of his uniform?
I don't think so. I forget how that goes.
Okay.
I don't know if she knows it's him right away.
Because, I mean, it's very clear in Love After World Domination, like, she's all about him.
Oh, no. Like, somebody was saying this was like Love After World Domination. They thought it was like when your favorite ship did not go the way you wanted it to go, you make Love After World Domination.
Oh, yeah.
Make love after world domination.
Yeah. I don't know. There was just a little one. Like, I liked that show a lot. I watched it with my spouse. That's another one I watched because Shy loves Power Rangers like to an insane degree. She has the movie soundtrack on vinyl.
Hey, Ivan Ooze is the best villain ever.
Yeah, I think Ivan Ooze is that's an American original. So is Lord Zed.
Yeah.
Good old Saban. But yeah. No, as a Super Sentai fan, I can vouch this series has, like, I know you're not a huge Sentai fan. I don't know if you watched any of them since like you were a kid, but
No, not really.
it has a lot of in-jokes about the Super Sentai stuff. It's really good.
I think that shows that if you have the knowledge for that, there's stuff there. But if you don't, there's still a good show. You won't feel like you're lost
Yeah.
or you're missing something all the time. Because we didn't feel that, I don't think.
No, there was no point that I was
I think
like,
outside of knowing getting the general, like, as long as you have the general sense, it's like, did you see Power Rangers? You have the general sense. I don't
Right.
think you have a problem, like, what kind of Ranger squads are and the colors and the general tropes that.
I think if you
go with
just,
it.
if you know what Power Rangers is,
Yep, I think that's really all you're
need. Fine.
Yeah, I think you'll be equipped with that.
There's probably deeper humor that happens that if you are well acquainted with those series, it'll be funnier to you.
You'll get more,
but it's still hilarious.
Still a lot.
Anyway.
To give without that.
Well, I don't know that there's a whole lot to say about it, besides just gushing over how good it is and people need to go watch it.
Yeah. Grab a favorite human and snuggle in and have a good time.
I really hope it gets a second season.
Does the manga not come out a lot, or
No, well, at least not where I can find it.
that's that classic. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I remember you talking about that before, where it's just like, I don't know if it's getting a second season.
I think it's still ongoing. I'm not sure where people can seek that out besides just searching for it and finding it wherever. But the manga or the anime, you can find it on Crunchyroll. So definitely recommend that. And who knows with any of this stuff? If people listen to this and it gets popular, maybe they'll make more. I don't know.
Who knows?
That's what I'm trying with Tricks Decade of Witches. Maybe that'll work with this too.
Try to trendsetter it. Somebody's got to try.
Eventually, when we have, millions of listeners, people come back to these episodes and be like, oh, yeah, we got to check that out. And then it'll get super popular. Tell your friends. Well, thanks for listening to That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster. All our social media links like Discord, Patreon, and all those other ones are on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. You can also find articles on various topics as well as new manga reviews, which we actually haven't had in a while. So.
Well, because we have a podcast to do that now, admittedly.
Yeah, I guess we sort of have a whole episode,
Anytime there's a new manga that we want to talk about the first chapter, we sit down and record it. So it's like an audio article.
But Ben's not on that one.
No.
Oh, no.
We didn't all trio sit down and write those together. Yeah. Admittedly.
Ben, do you even read new manga anymore?
I do. I read Astro Baby.
Right.
He read Astro Baby, dropping in the future at some point. It's in the can.
Oh, that's probably going to be in like a month.
Yeah. Buckle yourselves in. We have an episode on Astro Baby that's already recorded that you won't hear for ages.
But we would love to hear from you on any of those social media platforms, or you can leave a comment right on the site. You can even just send an email to isekaisenseisama@gmail.com. We're always looking for feedback, and we love to chat with you about the topics that we cover. We actually have been having really, really good conversations on the Discord recently.
Discord's been a good spot. Discord, worth being a part of.
If you prefer to listen to our podcast in high-quality stereo, be sure to check out the YouTube channel, where we simul-release all of the episodes.
It's Brad POV, isn't it? I'm in one ear and Ben's in the other. Man reporting podcast, POV.
We also released that version early on Patreon, so if you just can't wait, you can join us on there and listen as soon as the episode's done. In addition to getting the episodes early, all the tiers get to vote on the next series we cover on heroin addiction, as well as getting a shout-out, and as I mentioned at the beginning, bonus episodes.
Also, if we like you enough, I will listen to your Shonen Jumping the Gun recommendations. You don't even got to pay us for that. I just got to like you. Paying us does help with that.
We do have a lot of perks, as I talked about at the beginning, but we also want to know what Patreon perks you want. So let us know. You can come on the Discord and tell us, and then we'll probably do it. We're very easily bribed. And of course, we want to shout out our patrons. So now is the time to do that. And as has become tradition, I will now butcher some German. Wirst du unser Valentinsgruß sein, Cake Dwarf? And that's going to have to do.
That's going to have to wait for Cake Dwarf to get to this episode.
We also want to shout out Moon, who's a friend and has guested on Heroin Addiction twice. And she is a moderator on the r/Otomai Isekai subreddit. And those are our good patrons at our Reincarnator tier. At our Merchant tier, we got Kill Hour. Shout out to Kill Hour.
Shout out to Kill Hour.
And last and far from least is at our Commoner tier, Rena.
Thank you, Rena.
So thanks to all our patrons. And if you want to get a shout out, all you got to do is sign up.
Cheaper than a Twitch shout out. That's economical. Strangers will say your name on the internet.
It would be irresponsible not to get it.
Fan the flames of this parasocial relationship as we say your name out loud.
It doesn't have to be parasocial. We talk to people on the Discord.
It could just be regular social.
Yeah.
That's where the flames are being fanned.
And before we go, we want to thank Segoy Mart again. Don't forget you can get 15% off your first order by using the link in the description or by using code APR15 at checkout. And now it's the part of the podcast where I say, Ben, what are you talking about on Words About Books recently?
We did the Honjin Murders by Seishi Yokomizo, which is probably maybe of interest to listeners of this podcast.
I listened to the episode. I thought it was pretty interesting.
It'd probably be a good book to read. We didn't go super into the details of Japan that are in the book, but it is about that period you're always interested in. It's set in the 30s and written almost just after the war. So,
are you going to cover some more of his books?
Yeah, we're thinking about it. We liked it. He has his own signature detective, Kosuke Kindaichi. He's like a Sherlock Holmes or a Poirot, or.
Ooh.
So yeah, might be interesting. And then
what's the Glass Onion one? The Knives Out.
That is Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc. Yeah.
Yes.
The Southern Gentleman.
I was listening to that episode, and the whole time I was like, "Crap, what's that other guy's name?"
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig.
But we also dropped the first episode of the Lord of the Rings podcast we're doing, where we're going through
that.
Tolkien stuff chapter by chapter, and I'm going into exhausting detail on all the inspirations and behind the scenes. And
yeah, Kermit, you should listen to it, because I'm not listening to it, because I'm listening to it on the Patreon feed.
Ooh.
So
yes, I'm
gotta make up the numbers.
I'm not bumping up the numbers, so he needs you there.
I gotta get in there.
Well,
I've been very curious about it since you've talked about it. So
yeah, I mean, I mentioned Tolkien often enough on this podcast. Maybe one day I'll do like a Freerin crossover, see how they handle the elves.
But it's important, if you join the Words About Books Patreon, you can listen to those episodes early.
You can.
you can.
Yeah.
Not at the lowest tier, though. Our Patreon is more generous.
Yeah, you got to pay $3. But again, it's irresponsible not to get it.
Yeah,
Like-
of course.
Well, thanks again for listening. And, if you find yourself stranded in another world, I sincerely hope that you can find love. You guys know the term paisen?
What?
Never heard that?
What is that?
So there's senpai kohai,
Yeah.
right?
Excuse me.
But there's also paisen.
Never heard that.
Hold on, there should be an exact definition here. Okay, that makes more sense.
Oh, where have you learned this that you're now talking to us about it? Is this I
Well,
hope you guys knew I don't know either?
It's a word I've heard before, and I always thought it was very similar to senpai and kohai. I was like, oh, that's, yeah. Apparently, and then today, I was just in the shower, and it popped in my head, and I was like, oh, paisen is like senpai swapped around.
Spelled backwards.
And it turns out
This is my
that's
underling.
exactly what it is. And it's a way to make fun of somebody who should be your senpai.
Jisho tells me it's slang. So
Yeah.
And they spell it with katakana, so that usually means it's not a real Japanese word.
So I came to the conclusion of what it was independently, apparently.
And clearly that was the people who decided to start using it had the same thought. Ben, did a fan turn on your end?
This is my computer's fan.
Oh
graphics
my.
card's going
I was
nuts.
going to say, we're getting a lot of room noise from you tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on. It's settling down.
Calm down, girl.
Stop trying to do things with me.
Quit your downloading. I had a delightful moment on Valentine's Day. Did you? Wink.
You don't want me to tell you about that.
A certain Pink song comes to mind. That goes at the end. That's an after beep. That's an after beep joke, which wouldn't make any sense because it'll be at the end and people won't remember the context. So
Then we can have a poll. Which Pink song?
I like that we know how to end it because it's like, what's the moral of the story?
Finding love in
moral of
all
the
the
story
wrong
is-
places.
We need to go to Japan and we need to start a game show where we can try to get all these mangaka into like healthy, fulfilling relationships.
Yeah, or just out them about how terrible theirs are.
I don't know if this has anything to do with anything. This is just a weird bit of trivia for you two. Like, I remember in the 90s, like, the actresses who played the witches were, like, super attractive. And, like, I was looking at the Power Rangers wiki just now, and it's like, oh, like, the porn actress to witch in a Super Sentai pipeline is, like, 1-to-1. That's just a
You
weird
are
thing
a
about
witch in
Japan.
Super Sentai. You just become.
No, other way around.
Oh, people from porn get into.
Yeah.
I could see that
But you know what that means?
because there's a girl like that in the Akiba Rangers who's like dressed up as like a sexy Nazi sort of thing, and I'm
It's
like, I feel like you have to have a certain thing about yourself to wear that kind of skimpy clothing just out in a quarry with other people.
I was just like, it was weird to me that like Japan would be like, oh yeah, no, go ahead, do a kid show.
Yeah,
Like that'd be a huge scandal in America, but just go nuts. Yeah, more
Right.
power to them. I mean,
Riley
It's-
Reid on Nickelodeon.
I don't know. More power to them. That's a little Valentine's Day After Dark trivia for you.
it's a Love Boat.
On the Love Boat. I don't know how that goes. I was just going to sing that to the song of
Love Shack.
Love Shack.
No.
Yeah.
Love Boat Baby.
On the Love Boat, it's a little old place where we can get together.
Love Boat Baby.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the voice, so I stopped.
Love Boat Baby. Yeah, here. Full House as fuck.
That's just fun.
That's what I was waiting for.
It's such a good song.
Yeah.
Like beyond the fact that the series is really good. It's just such a high energy,
It's fun.
good song.
Japan loves funk.
And I love Japan.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy
Even
post
though it's
Valentine's Day,
over.
everybody. I survived Valentine's Day. I did a good job.
Me too.
Happy February.
Happy. I can't wait for winter to be effing over.
Guess what I got my wife for Valentine's Day?
What'd you get? Do you want to still? You want to be recording for this?
I mean, I got it for her for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Okay. Is this something she wanted? Meiji
A carpet
chocolate?
clean. A
Oh, the
carpet
carpet
cleaner.
cleaner. Brad set the
How-
story up on when we went out to dinner. This was discussed.
Well, she's been good lately, so
No.
No.